Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Beyond!
Oh my God! Wasn't expecting that at all.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 68 of Podcast Beyond.
City 8.
68.
One away from my favorite number.
Oh, no.
Interesting. I'm your host, Chris Roper, editor-in-chief of the IGN PlayStation team. We're missing a Jeff today.
Aww.
Jeff
Are
is
we
on.
really missing him?
Well, he's on a trip to Amsterdam/Paris.
Yeah.
To check out a bunch of big games. So, 2 big games. People can speculate about what those are, but we'll have reports and, new previews and such on those pretty soon.
It's Final Fantasy 15.
Yes, they're going to just
In
skip
France.
a couple.
In France.
Greg Miller is here.
Yo!
Ryan Clements.
Hey, everybody.
And returning once again, special guest Sam Bishop.
Hello there.
Oh, let's get this party started with a very special edition of the Roper Report.
It's time for some news. I can't do it like it.
So, I'm saying this is a special edition because there's not crap to talk about.
Is this a collector's edition of the Roper's Report?
No, this is like the...
Does it come with a Roper
this is
figure?
like
Does
the,
it come with a tinfoil case?
No,
Got a Roper bobblehead.
this comes on like a napkin that you get at the bar.
Oh.
It's so worthless.
Wow.
The first of 2 pieces of news that I have to mention today is that you'll see how important this stuff is that Valkyria Chronicles is getting an anime made over in Japan starting next year sometime.
Ooh, that was a little loud.
Yeah.
Move the mic away.
And secondly and lastly, unless anybody else has anything to chime in on this, please do, is that there's a patch coming for SmackDown. To Greg, one of your gripes with the during the review of the game was that if you played the career mode, that's how you give your guys stats now, and you'd have to do it every single time for a new creator wrestler.
Yep.
Now there's a patch coming to fix that. So you play through the career mode once. Once you've done that, you unlock the
You can go, have stats for you guys. And
give whatever stat you want to anybody.
Problem is, the patch is coming out, we don't know when, sometime before January 31st, 2009.
Yeah. So
2010.
It's a bit of an open timetable there if you ran out and bought SmackDown over the weekend.
yeah. So yeah. Hopefully we'll see that around New Year's.
Of course, it doesn't
But
help
we'll
you
see.
if you own a PSP or PS2. You have to take your character through it every time.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So man. Let's find out what games are coming out in stores this week.
I do that with the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors.
Ooh, it sounds
Bleeps
good.
and bloops.
Bleeps
That
and
was a good one.
bloops.
That was pretty good. PS3 gets Evolution Soccer 2009. I did the Pez, and then I couldn't remember for a second what it was. COD World at War, WWE SVR 09. PS2 gets Hasbro Family Game Night. Eternal Poison, PES 09. COD WA at W SVR 09. PSP gets SVR 09. PES 09. That's it.
Let's look at this thing. I mean, the pick here's got to be Call of Duty.
Yeah, Ocampo likes that a lot.
Yeah. And Pro
Does Michael Thompson.
Pro Evo is a good soccer game. So.
Yeah, and SmackDown's a good wrestling game.
Yeah. But Call of Duty is Call of Duty, I think, has got to be pick of the week.
Pick of the week!
Pick of the week.
Pick of the week in your face.
Jeff is not here to translate for Zombie Blognak's moans and groans.
I did the best I could.
All right, what did you get from it?
Today comes out Plunder. I refuse to call it Age of Booty. And Pain, the movie Studer with Hasselhoff.
David, the Hoff.
Yeah, I'm going to download it, and I'm going to make you listen to Do You Want to Hurt Me by David Hasselhoff over and over and over again.
I actually do want to hear this just to see how terrible it is.
Yeah.
This is one of those things like a car wreck. You got to look at it.
Yeah.
Man, I hate that guy, though. Did you use Google Translator to translate from Zombie Blognak?
Yep.
We should try to get them to put that on there.
Okay.
So you can go, and then it comes up.
Actually, I ran into Zombie Blognak last night at a Sony birthday party, and he was none too pleased that one Ryan Clements wasn't there. He really wanted to talk about Valkyria Chronicles.
And
I said it wasn't that great. It was overrated, and he said, "Well, I'm gonna trade it in."
One more sale lost. Thanks to Greg Miller's influence.
Yeah. All right. Trophy tips. We have anything? Just a tip.
Well, don't ask us how.
Uh-huh.
Roper and I would know this. However, Killzone 2 trophies are gonna be fun,
Yeah.
and they're pretty easy to get.
Yeah.
Yep.
They are pretty good.
Yeah.
There's some fun ones in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
We're not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
We're just saying there's some fun ones.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple of them seem really difficult. There's a couple of them where you need to do some pretty crazy stuff.
Like
but
beat the game without getting shot a single time. That's not. I don't know if that's in there. No.
That'd be an awesome one, though.
But I think that there is one to beat a level on the hardest difficulty without dying, which would be pretty tricky.
Is it stuff like we were talking about last week where you do something a little bit differently in the game, or is it just kill X number of
There's
enemies?
stuff that I was looking.
play it.
I was looking through them all, and there was stuff in there that I wouldn't think to do normally that I'm excited to go try to do.
Yeah, but nothing's too crazy. So you makes you focus on certain weapons, certain tactics, or whatever, and it all works pretty well. A lot of them, I think that you could get either just happenstances playing the game or by accident, but it's kind of cool to see those things in there. Hey, go try this thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to play the final one of that one. But do we have any more trophy tips? Just that tip.
That's all I was trying to be general on that one. Pixel Junk Monster trophies are really hard and
Yes,
made
they
Damon
are.
Hatfield scream at my TV and leave.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I will tell you how not to get any trophies in Need for Speed Undercover. Just play it, because there aren't any trophies in that game. So,
Oh, poor Need for Speed.
oh well. All right, let's get to
got a
this one's
need
moving
for
fast
speed.
without Jeff. What's going on
Oh,
here?
man.
He's not here to fill a space.
Yeah. Topic of the week. Is that the PS3 turned 2
Oh my gosh.
2 days ago on the 11th.
How
The
adorable.
terrible twos.
Yeah.
Adorable.
It's gonna be running around and throwing stuff off the shelf, saying everything it's his. Man, it's
Or
gonna be.
hers.
Pots and pans.
How do you know the PS3 isn't a girl?
I look at it.
I don't know. It's
Alright.
it's all in black, which I guess.
So,
I don't know.
That's it's very easy when you have a baby. Blue for boy, pink for girl, black for badasses.
Yeah. So there you go.
there you go.
But anyway, the PS3 is 2, so we're gonna just kind of shoot the poop and
There you go.
talk about what how it's done the first 2 years of its life. Obviously, there's been major improvements in how Sony's been handling things, but is it enough? Where is it going to go in the next 2-3 years before we see the PS4, et cetera, et cetera? Sam, why don't you kick off on this
Oh
one?
man, I'm actually pretty impressed. They've done a really good job with firmware updates. I know some people kind of bitch and moan about the fact that every couple weeks there's something small and incremental, but with each major step, they've done a pretty good job of adding stuff. They fixed the browser.
Yeah.
They kind of rounded out all the non-game stuff, and then with like in-game XMB, all that stuff that's in there now, it's finally getting to the point where I think most people were kind of expecting it when it first came out.
Yeah.
Which is good. They're at least getting to that point, and a lot of the changes seem to have come from them listening to
Users
the
and-
comments.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Comments on the blog, that kind of stuff. So it seems very much user-fueled, and I think that's awesome.
I think Sony's done a pretty good job on it, but there's still some important things missing, like voice support in every single game.
Yeah.
That's not there. That,
Cross-platform stuff would be really nice, or cross-game stuff.
yeah. So I mean, it's not perfect yet, but it definitely is better than it was even a year ago, and especially at launch. I mean,
Yes,
at launch, a lot of the online stuff kind of felt empty,
Yeah.
and now it feels
Very, very, very
much
bare
more
bones.
complete.
Yeah.
So it's still. I still get the feeling kind of where it seems a little hacked together. It's not as tight and complete as the Xbox Live experience, but it's gotten very close at this point. So I think Sony's done a pretty good job wrapping this up. But over the next 2 years, you've got Xbox coming out with a new Xbox experience, whatever it's called. I mean, it's just a revisioning.
The virus?
Well, it's just a revisioning of the blades. There's avatars in there, which whatever, who
And
cares?
I like the interface. I mean, I love graphical interfaces, like really slick ones. So
Yeah.
and I think they did a good job on it.
Well, so here's the thing: is Microsoft's edge over Sony is that it's a software company.
Yes,
So it's
exactly.
going to, I think, probably always have better software than. I mean, totally from the platform side. Not talking about games, but from that side, they're always going to do better than Sony will. Whereas on the flip side, Sony's a hardware company, so you look at the PS3, it's not breaking like the 360 is.
Yeah.
It's got more beef in there. It's got the Blu-ray, it's all that kind of stuff. Built-in Wi-Fi, which 360s still didn't bother to add at any point.
Oh, yeah, they never did add that
which
in
to
any
me
of the
seems-
SKUs.
Yeah,
Man, so messed
to me
up.
it seems kind of amazing.
So ridiculous.
But I
Well, they
mean,
can charge you that $100 for that little thing.
Yeah,
they're
which I
making
had to
money
buy
hand
at
over
one point.
fist. There you go.
yeah.
There you go.
I think one thing that's been kind of interesting this generation for everyone, well, at least 360 and PS3, not so much Nintendo, because Nintendo still hasn't even released a Wii U that plays DVDs yet, but or CDs. But I mean, both Microsoft and Sony sort of have been trying to feel out which SKUs to release to the to the market.
Yeah.
They come out. Microsoft launches with one system that's got a 20 gig drive, one system doesn't have a hard drive at all, and you have to buy a storage device or something. Sony comes out with a 60 and a 20 gig system. 20 gig doesn't have Wi-Fi or
No card readers,
yeah,
no Wi-Fi.
didn't have Wi-Fi or the card readers.
No Chrome.
Yeah, it doesn't. Whatever. And then. And now there's all these other variations of the thing. You've lost USB ports to save money. All these other things. And it seems kind of interesting to me to see how they've been sort of changed and to look at where the system is now and then compare it to even the announced stuff at E3 2005.
Yeah,
to
2
look at
HDMI ports.
yeah, 3 gigabit Ethernet ports and all this kind of stuff. You're like, yeah, they never did that, and they've even dropped off stuff that seems more necessary, like 4 USB ports down to 2, and
yeah,
dual 1080p display support.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that was pretty ridiculous. I don't know if anybody would have used it, but still.
I don't. Yeah,
You know.
I can't even imagine.
I have 4
Why would you
1080p
even-
televisions put together in a
That's not true.
giant
Young Wish would have
television.
used it for some GT thing. You know,
Yeah, but he
had
would have
some sort
wanted
of
at least
crazy
3 though.
32 by 9. What's up?
But he would have wanted at least 3 though. But
That's
I guess
true.
you could.
Yes.
But I guess you could use 2 PS3s instead of 3 to get the front side.
Oh, jeez.
views.
And they have widescreen now, because with say Ferrari. The
Yeah.
arcade machine. That was 3 4x3 displays.
The next,
Yeah.
the next Gran Turismo 6 is just going to be an entire arcade unit, and it just comes as that. Plugs in your PS3, and
That
then you
would
go.
be-
Bubble.
I would buy it in 1 second. I would if I had a house at the time, I would mortgage it to get the game.
And then Gran Turismo 7 is just a car.
Yeah.
It's you just buy a sports
No,
car.
it's a car that morphs into whatever you want it to be.
Oh, okay, yes.
Have you seen the new BMW that has the I think it's BMW, right, with the morphing skin?
No.
It has it doesn't have like aluminum paneling or whatever it is on the carbon fiber, whatever they're using it nowadays, but it's got just a skin on the outside of the car, so the doors and stuff, as they open, the skin folds back, and like the hood looks like the front of the car looks like it's one giant piece, and then so when the hood opens up, it actually slides in the middle and slides open. It looks like you're performing surgery on it, sort of.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome.
That's really
Except that-
creepy.
Straight
Yeah.
out of the future, man.
So,
it is absolutely
Gran
insane.
Turismo 6 could be that, where it's just one car that transforms into whatever vehicle you want to drive.
Or it's like Knight Rider.
It comes with like 1,000 horsepower in the engine, and then dials it down to whatever you need to drive. So
So you can race your little cappuccino if you
yeah,
want.
so
Right?
it'll dial down to 60 horsepower.
So I can turn it into my Chevy
give you 4
Aveo.
gears. Yeah. Anyway, that's the future of Gran Turismo.
Right there, we called it. You
Yeah.
heard it here first, folks.
But,
Done.
Getting back to the PS3, Greg, where do you think it's going to go over the next 2 or 3 years? What's left to do?
I think
More
it was-
SmackDown.
yeah, well, that's for sure coming, and they'll refine that guy, put some trophies in it, stop the slowdown, make it easy to invite friends. I'm sure with the next iteration, because why is it taking so long? Anyways, I think it's just gonna. I think it'll keep getting better. I think it had a really, really good last year. I mean, I remember at the first birthday, they were like, okay, still the black sheep. I mean, no, everybody's still crapping on this thing. Everybody has something bad to say about it. I mean, we went through that whole thing where the PR cycle of up and down of it was good news about this, then something horrible would happen, and you could never get a good line out of it. And I think we've really stabilized that off as the PlayStation platform as far as now it seems like there is consistent good news. Trophies are a huge help. You know what I mean? I mean, we're still waiting for a lot of them to get patched, but you figure hopefully a year from now the mandate has come and we don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm sure Home will have been out and revolutionized the internet and the world in ways I can't even. I won't even come to work anymore, Rope. I will just sign on to Home from Office.
We'll have a digital IGN
I
office.
will dance there while I do my work.
Yeah.
But for real, I mean, I think I think we're gonna keep getting better. It'll keep getting better. They'll keep gaining ground. I mean, you'd hope that the problems you still see with Fallout having glitches, that when a notification pops up, people having to patch in trophies, that should all be a thing of the past. You'd hope by next year this time.
See, what I think is going to be interesting is to see if Sony has. I totally agree. Over the last year, Sony's done a lot to add a lot to the system, and what'll be interesting to see if Sony keeps up that pace and keeps adding stuff to it. Because now that Sony's almost caught up with Microsoft as far as all the live stuff goes, then now where does it go?
Yeah.
Because before, up till now, it's had a blueprint for, hey, we need to add trophies, we need to add, across media bar, everywhere, friends list that works across games, voice support still needs to come. But they've had all these things. They say, here's our goals. Now that they've pretty much gotten there, it's sort of like, where do they go next? Do they start inventing, new things to add on there? And, and will they do it correctly? Or
what they need to do would be to push for digital distribution / like the PlayOn thing, being a media server where you can, okay, we lost Netflix to Microsoft. However, if we partner with PlayOn or whatever, then you're streaming off your computer, Hulu and Netflix or whatever. You know what I mean? That's what it needs to be. They've always, wanted it to be that. Remember when it first got announced, it's going to be the center entertainment hub of your living room and stuff. And that right now is the next step for. I don't have cable and I don't need it because I can watch anything there. I can catch Kill Bear Report the next day on my computer now, and I can stream it to my PS3. However, I'm doing that through not a Sony product. I mean, granted, it recognizes it and everything. Interface is fine. It's not like I'm, hacking a PSP or whatever. But if Sony would get on top of that and partner with somebody to make it official and say, here, go to the PlayStation Store and we'll show you how to download it. Here, do this, blah, blah, that's something they need to do.
But now here's the thing, though, is how important are those tertiary things to the systems overall enjoyment. Because really, it's a gaming system first.
Yeah.
And second, it's going to be a Blu-ray player. And then third would be all these other things.
Well, you figure, here's the thing. Right now, I would like to think that we're on pretty good footing as far as games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking ahead, Infamous Killzone 2, that's just Q1. Hopefully, we're going to see. I would be dying for Uncharted 2 next year, at least an announcement of it. I mean, let's get something going on that. You know what I mean?
God of War at some point.
There you go. So, I mean, I would say you're covering the game thing, and what you have to do if you're Sony is not let this turn into another PSP. Where, hey, here's a system, here's this awesome cross-media bar, we have nothing to support any of the features outside of it. You know what I mean? We're going to come out and it's going to do photos, it's going to do video, it's going to do games, and we're going to be mediocre at everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, right now, games are covered. Awesome. I mean, keep on developers, make them do stuff. Blu-ray's good. Now you have to sit there. You can't rest and say, well, the video service, you can download that stuff, and it's really expensive. We don't have full seasons. We don't ever show up. That sucks. But whatever. I mean, right now you can't sit there and be complacent and say, we're tied with Xbox. You know what I mean? Like they have this video thing, we have a video thing. Good enough. You got to say, all right, how do we push this forward? What are the music? It would be another huge thing to start getting the thing.
Needs to be added to the store.
Exactly.
Really
I mean, it's just you got to flesh out everything you have right now so that people do start saying, oh, yeah, it's, caught up to Xbox. No, it's surpassed Xbox. It does more than this. You know what I mean? Like, I do want it in my living room. I have all my songs on it. You know what I mean? That'd be the thing, that I have all my songs on it, and now I take them off that. I have all my shows on it, and I take them off that. That's where I store them. I mean, you figure you can put it in a giant hard drive. Think about not having to worry about computer space or having, right now I have an iPhone, two laptops, counting my work one and my home one, and everything's spread out across them. So I'm moving everything around with flash drives. If I could just take Jeff's terabit, plug it in, copy everything off of all my computers, take it to my PSP and put it all there, or PS3 and put it all there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think going back to the music thing, I think one thing that both Microsoft and Sony are missing out on right now, and I'd be interested to see who kind of does this first, is you get a full-on, iTunes-esque music store on the system.
Yeah.
Now you've got the perfect vehicle to tie in with Rock Band and Guitar Hero and draw readers towards your system. So you do specials like you say, hey, this new, the new Foo Fighters album is coming out for Rock Band, buy this and you get a couple of the songs for free or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or here's like this new pack of bands. The songs are $2 a piece as they normally would be on 360, but on PS3 you also get the tracks for free that you download through the store.
Would be awesome. I'd love to see them kind of supporting like indie bands or up and coming stuff and kind of give them a little bit of a spotlight.
Yeah.
And then have that feed into Rock Band.
Yeah, I mean it's perfect because you look at it and you say, well, I can purchase this money and I get it just in the game, or if I have a PS3. I can also take that music with me on the road and do whatever else I want with it. I get double the value for it, basically. And I think that that's something that there's all kinds of licensing logistics in that. It's not a completely simple answer, but if that is available in some fashion, you're getting it, now and again on certain things. It's going to be a huge boost to the people that are really into buying all this stuff and expanding their music library and are really into these sorts of games. That the people that are driving the the word of mouth for them in the first place. So. I think that's a pretty big missed opportunity. And just having the store on there in general gives people, like Greg, you're saying, just an easy place to go to, get all these things in one place, get music, get movies, get your games. Ideally, after a while, you wouldn't need a computer anymore if all you're doing is surfing the web and managing media.
Yeah.
Because it already does pictures, although it's not that great, but somebody releases it.
I think the picture stuff's actually pretty cool looking. It's got the best picture browser I've seen on something where it's got it's throwing them down onto like a white table and slowly
that was pretty
awesome.
awesome.
See, like the negatives and
that is cool. But you throw in like a basic image editor, like a little iPhoto type things. You take out Red Eye or whatever else, and then you're sold. Yeah. A lot of people don't really do much more than that. Do a little basic cropping tool, then that's all you need. Now all of a sudden you've got a full multimedia workstation.
See, all that functionality is great, but I still think that Sony needs to focus on making sure that they have a better lineup entirely than the other consoles. Because right now, I think we finally got to the point where the PS3 has as many and maybe, just about like as many awesome games that are coming out on like a steady basis now, whereas it's like, oh, we got that one good game last year and that's it. But now they're like caught up, but I want to see them continuously go. I think they should be funneling more money into making sure that we have an ever-growing lineup of AAA titles as opposed to just B or C titles. So
well, that's obviously the main focus, and I think that's going to happen no matter what. I don't think that the company's going to divert its attention to making it a multimedia machine at the expense of games.
Right, but I would rather see that game lineup increase as opposed to functionality, multimedia functionality.
Right, but what I'm saying is if Sony's going to continue to improve the system as a whole through firmware updates and all this kind of stuff, then it's got to be looking at what do we do next? What does Microsoft not have? Where's the next unforeseen ground that nobody knows what's coming yet? And the music stuff is the perfect place to go to. Offhand, I can't think of anything that would be more obvious to me.
Don't they have a recording label? Or something?
Yes.
That's
Sony Music has a
is that
huge thing.
They're ridiculously diverse in what they can do. So yeah, they have the games division, but then they also concentrate on VIOs, and they have this entire department that does handle stuff like music or adds multimedia functionality to all their products. That's one of the core tenets of their business is music players and movie players and that kind of stuff. So as long as SCEI or E or A or whatever, as long as they focus on games development on that side, and then they let the other departments sort of get involved with adding these other features for multimedia, that kind of stuff, then it's perfect. It's best of both worlds. And I think that's what Rob was saying.
Yeah, that's the one thing. If you look at Sony's, the Sony as a whole,
their portfolio.
Yeah, their whole, all of their major, all their individual, company segments or whatever you want to call it, like the electronics division, all that. There's some that are doing well, some that are doing very poor, and you'd figure that a company like that could help tie it all together. Something like the PS3 is perfect for that. Help tie in photos. Hey, go get your Sony Digishot or whatever it's called.
Cybershot.
That's it. Go get that. That works nicely with this. Obviously, any camera would, but you pimp the Cybershot in all your ads. Same thing with the cameras and all these other things. Say it works good on your Bravia. They already have that going for the PS3. So tie it into all these other devices.
Make it an indispensable thing.
Yeah.
This is the hub of your digital life, and then you're branching it out to all your Sony peripherals.
Yeah, and then now if you've got a Sony camera and a Sony thing, and you've got this, and you're like, I want to get a system. Do I get the Microsoft one or I get the Sony one because I'm already set with the Sony brand?
Right.
It's just, it really doesn't make any difference, but you get that that little thing in the back of your head saying I've got a bunch of Sony stuff. I'm a Sony fan now.
And it all works together.
Yeah,
seamlessly.
exactly.
Yep. And that's something that's been said about Sony for I don't even know how many years now. Since the PS2 was kind of rolling into its prime, people were like, well, okay, this is a company that does music, they do movies, and they do games. Why aren't all these divisions kind of working together? And that was supposed to be the big thing that Stringer was going to do when he came in, was sort of unify the company and get everybody talking and have less of this silo or these little hub subdivisions that don't actually talk to each other. So there's, I hate using the word, but synergy. That kind of stuff.
It's one of those things.
Such a great word, though.
I know. I side with Ryan. I mean, we all do. We all want great games and all that stuff. And the thing is, though, that they made this really expensive system and they pimped it not as just a game machine. You know what I mean? And now it's time to deliver on those other aspects as well. Otherwise, when we look at it, you're always going to say, yeah, the PS3 is cool, but there's all this crap on the cross media bar I don't use. You know what I mean? I have like 2 images somebody sent me one time on my thing, and you know what I mean?
I think I've got one from you, and that's all that I have.
I try to send them off when I send the buzz photos out when I do stuff.
But that all feeds back into like your original question, or what everybody's sort of been talking about. Whereas a year ago, we were all kind of that we were just saying this last week in the podcast. Like it had been exactly a year since I last sat in on things, and the difference between then and now is ridiculous because everyone was just kind of okay, yeah, it's cool, it's got a lot of potential. Now I think we threw that word around like crazy.
Oh yeah.
And now it's actually starting to deliver on that. The software is totally there, and I want it like a year from now. I think it's going to be really, really nice because all this first-party R&D that they're doing, this whole Worldwide Studios initiative, having each of these little departments developing stuff share with all the other ones to help them out. All this stuff they're doing with like Killzone, which looks absolutely phenomenal, amazingly cool-looking game. But all that hard work that they put in there is going to get shared with everybody else. So a year from now, I think we're going to see some really crazy stuff. In addition to just
crazy.
In addition to all the advancements they're making with the cross-media bar and the interface and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, you have anything to add to this before we wrap it up?
No, I think
Wrap
that's
it up.
good.
Yep.
I would okay, wait.
Unwrapping.
Here it comes.
I'm unwrapping.
Sony really delivered with. I love how they're doing a lot of anime because that's really big for me. I think that if they do this music stuff, which we want to see, they need to do East Asian music because there is like nowhere online unless you import CDs directly from Japan or Korea or whatever. There's really no way. Like iTunes, despite all the world music that they have, has no East Asian music on their service.
Like J and K-pop.
Yeah, like J and K-pop and all that stuff. Because there is a fairly large audience of people here that would love that stuff, especially gamers. Well, they should capitalize on that.
That's one thing that I think if Microsoft and Sony were both to put up music stores at the same time, I think Sony would do a better job of having a worldwide
absolutely.
thing than Microsoft does. You just look at how the tracks they put in SingStar. I mean, if you're a US guy and you just like to listen to US music, you're like, well, where's my Foo Fighters and all this kind of stuff. But if you like listen to a bunch of random electronica and stuff like that from Europe and all these, there's a lot of that in all of these games, and I think Sony has for better or worse through SingStar tried to diversify the kind of music that it's putting on there. If you all of a sudden open up a music store and there's 10,000 songs,
they should totally have some J-pop and
that's almost
J-rock
guaranteed
and stuff
now.
in
They
there.
could go with video game soundtracks too if you really
even that. I would even
appeal
take
to
that.
to the core bass and stuff.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So
let's get this going.
all right, very good. Sony make a music store and do cool stuff. I guess is the moral
cool
of this
things.
Our
lesson.
firm mandate: do cool stuff.
You know what it's time for? Reader
No.
mail.
Malice.
Mail.
Malaria.
Greg, you look sad.
That's just malarkey.
Yeah, you brought up SingStar, so that
Oh.
hurt.
I see. There's a question about
no,
SingStar
what?
in here. I'm gonna get to.
All right, good. Isn't it why they lazy and only put European tracks on there? Well, they're in Europe, so there's your answer.
Well, okay, hold
Jerks.
on.
They don't care about us.
We'll come to it. Hold on a second.
Once Barack's in office, everything's gonna change, though.
Let's start here at the top with Pseudo Prime 1979. It says, with the recent revelations that Ryan hates Kratos
Yep.
and Jeff,
Recent. I've been preaching that
Yeah,
since
it's
day
true.
one.
okay, but and Jeff
Okay.
Jeff not liking Kingdom Hearts 2 as much as some other people. He
It's
says,
crazy.
what are some games that each of you like but aren't universally acclaimed?
Oh.
And what about games that you love that nobody else seems to get?
I've got a bunch for this
Let's
one.
hear it.
Yeah, lay it on us.
So I was obviously like the only person who enjoyed Folklore. So there's one. That's the big one. But the one that we don't talk about often on the podcast is Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus, which everyone
that's universally hated.
everyone hates.
Yep.
There's not a single person on the planet except me who likes that game. I actually liked that game so much that after I beat it, I played it through again directly afterwards and beat it again a second time.
Why do you like it so much?
Because I could get over the fact that this was not the highest class shooter. I saw it more in terms of it was not only had shooting elements, but it was also an incredibly sophisticated storytelling device, which is one of the reasons why I follow that series so much, is just because of the story, their cutscenes, just the cinematography of it all, music, it all comes together. So the characters and the story drove me through that game, and it was supported by what I thought was just a reasonably fine shooting mechanic, which everyone else just blasted and hated. But I enjoyed it.
They did try to fix a little bit of that when they brought it over to the US.
Yeah, the
right?
U.S.
Like,
release was a lot better too. So, but I loved the story, and the cutscenes in that game were absolutely ridiculous looking, as is mostly the case with Square Enix titles.
All right, what else you got, Ryan?
Well, those two are just the ones that came to mind. So go around and I can come
Greg?
back.
Spider-Man 2. Like, I really like Spider-Man 2. Like, I thought it,
Yes,
like,
you do.
I talk about it all the time in all my reviews. If I review a Spider-Man game, I bring it up. Because I'm like, hey, they had this I mean, it wasn't that it was a perfect game. Don't get me wrong. Like, I am aware of how repetitive it was. I'm aware of all the problems it had. I'm just saying it was a great blueprint for what the future should be. The future should be, we have this story, and then there are random crimes. It drives me crazy that we have these great old big systems that do all this cool stuff, and we still have 3 types of random crimes to go around and do. You know what I mean? Like, if I sat down, I would have... they give me the Spider-Man license, or Superman for that matter, and I sat down, I would have, a team of comic book writers come up with a story, and then a whole different set of programmers get going on individual one-off crimes that happen at different times at night, different times during the day, different events, different. It's not a guy with road rage driving around that I gotta go stop a million times. All that said, it was a game that as everyone knows, I trade in my games when I beat them or whatever, because that's the only way I can survive with the amount we buy. And so we went all the way. I mean, I kept that one for a long, long time, and finally traded it in. And then about 3 months later, I bought it back because I wanted to go swing around, and I still was saving balloons and stuff. I mean, it was just one of those games that nailed the feeling of what it should have been and what it still should be.
Yeah.
The swing mechanic in that game was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really gave you a sense of the same stuff that you saw in the movies, where he's like
Running
around
on the side of the building,
exactly.
like on the glass. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
The repetition just.
Yeah.
Sam, you got anything to contribute to this?
I love Fanavision. The U.S. release of Fanavision, and everybody poo-pooed it, but it had a 2-player mode. They poo-pooed it. It had a 2-player mode where the screen was like split right down the middle, and depending on who was winning, the amount of screen space that you had would move. So if you were losing, you would have less and less space to work with. And I just thought the whole chaining mechanic was really cool. I thought it looked nice for a launch game. So yeah, that's I guess.
Huntavision.
I don't know what people generally think about this. I know they hated the second one, but I had a whole lot of fun with the first Fusion Frenzy, the first Xbox launch title.
Xbox game. Yeah, I remember
thought that game was awesome, but it was a great party game.
Yeah.
But Greg, how about big games that people love that you hate?
People know that I'm not a giant role-playing fan, so like I try to get into Final Fantasies and just can't do it generally. And I think it's just because there's too much.
Understandable.
I think it's just too much. Like, I play probably the bad ones or whatever, but I've tried. And I think it's just too much mysticism, crazy stuff. Persona 3
really
I played
liked,
and
right?
loved, man. Yeah, that game's awesome, but it's it's more grounded than like I'm at a school. Okay, I'm in an environment I understand. I'm not. Well, my hair's all spiky and I got this yellow jacket and now I'm gonna go play underwater soccer and it's all weird and the sky's crashing. It's like, what the hell is
Laugh
this?
awkwardly and speak with ellipses.
I wonder which game that was that you were referring to. Underwater soccer.
Yeah. Dumbest idea ever.
Ryan, what we know about God of War?
Yeah, I've never been a big God of War fan. What
Ryan and I
else?
have talked about this too. I'd back him up on that. I know I've talked about it on podcasts before too. I have nothing against the franchise and I think it's
I don't
fun.
dislike it.
I like playing the PSP version just to sit around and go beat something when I'm waiting for a train. But overall, I don't connect with Kratos as a character, so I've never really been like God of War. Yeah, I've played him. Don't get me wrong. But
See, I'm kind of the opposite camp, but it's a similar kind of thing. I can't get into Devil May Cry whatsoever.
Yeah.
I love the hell out of God of War, and I don't like Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
So
Well, it is very. Is it the style? Is it because it's very East Asian and like super quirky Japanese? Or
it's
because
kind
God
of the
of
whole
War is way
package.
more.
Yeah, it's kind of the whole package. Yeah, I love the whole Greek mythology and all that sort of stuff, and it's such a story that's entwined with human civilization and evolution, all that it's sort of almost real. It's fake, but it's also kind of real.
Yeah.
And I love that sort of setting. But with Devil May Cry, I don't know. The whole thing I just can't ever get into.
The way they present the God of War story, I've always been a big fan of.
Yeah.
I love that name. Kratos arose.
And they do an awesome job with scale.
Athena, you have conspired against me. That was our favorite quote during TGS, so we would just change it to suit our needs. Sony, you have conspired against me. Where are the 11 new titles you promised me? Sorry.
That's pretty good. All right, I'll approve that one. Sam, finally, anything that you do not get that other people do?
Sports games for the most part.
Oh, me too.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
I know that's pretty generalized, but I have a good time with the arcade stuff. I still think the NBA Jam games are some of the best basketball games
They were
ever
awesome.
made.
Yeah.
And NBA
Is that
Street.
the one where
first couple.
the ball could set on fire?
Yep.
Yeah.
I loved those.
Yeah.
Those were
Sure
like
you
the
don't-
one.
And then
Man,
and you
NBA
do dunks from like the half court line.
Yeah.
The game's so awesome.
NBA Street Volume 2 was awesome, and I
Yes.
could not get into 3 at all.
Yes. 3. I don't know. I think they
Something
kind of
about
started
it.
running out of.
Yeah, something about it.
juice.
I didn't like how it happened or the way things tie together. But 2 was, man, God, I would Friday and Saturday nights. I get with my friends. We'd all get drunk and play that game and just start screaming.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
one
yeah.
time, somebody pushed somebody else on the ground. It was like over that game, man. I was like, stop shooting threes. You're so cheap, man.
Game breakers constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think basketball in particular is one of those ones that really drives me nuts because it seems like with arcade games the ball physics are really good. You take a shot, the arc is pretty much perfect,
Yeah.
and with the Sims. The sim versions of basketball, it never connects like that. The ball doesn't feel like it has gravity to it. Absolutely, fundamentally believe that if you are on defense and you jump at the same time as someone goes up for a shot, you should be able to block it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this whole stat breakdown where people go up and they just kind of clip into each other. And
Hands
and then
straight
nothing
up and
happens.
nothing
Camera slow motion around them.
Yeah.
The problem I've had, being a big college basketball fan, is that sometimes you see a little bit of it, but there's really no working a play, working the ball around the perimeter. It's literally run down, hold down turbo, this is on the EA 2K sims that are out now. You run down there and you use the juke stick, and you try to fake do that, and you get to the paint, and then you try to dunk, and or just do a layup or whatever. That's all that game boils down to anymore. There's no working the perimeter, being a point guard, setting up play. You try, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Also, the Zelda series.
What?
I played the crap out of Link to the Past
Yeah.
back in the day, and I loved that game.
Good.
But I Never really got into. I know this is going to cause many death threats, but I
I'm
never
with you
got
on this.
into.
I know where you're going. I'm with you on this one.
Really?
Just never got into the subsequent 3D versions. I mean, they were fine. It's not like I thought they were bad games by any
I
stretch
thought
of the
Ocarina of
imagination.
Time was great, and then I got in as I kept going on. I was like, "Oh, this just keeps kind of going," and I never finished it. And
yeah.
dude, I played 10 hours of Twilight Princess, and it was boring as hell. I did not have one fun moment in that game. Well, maybe like 10 minutes, but I mean, of 10 hours, like I gave this game, more
More than
time
enough
than
chance.
other games last in its entirety, and I could not get into it and never finished it.
I got so pissed off at Majora's Mask at one point in the Water Temple, and like that boss fight there that I ripped the game out of the system, and at the time I was living here in the city, and it was along the train line, the Muni Metro, which kind of is like it's a subway when you're downtown, for those who don't know, and then when it gets out of downtown, it goes above ground, so it's kind of like just like a train, and I threw it down on the tracks just to watch it get crushed by the train. It was amazing.
That Muni derailed
and then the
killed
train
12 people.
derailed.
How long did you sit there and have to wait for it?
There was one coming. You could hear
Okay.
it coming because they make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So I was just like, F this game, and I just ripped it out and opened up the sliding glass window and just chucked it down there. And it was I mean, I don't even know how it worked out this nicely, but it bounced a couple times and landed right on the track, and then the train went right over it. And I was like, oh, sweet relief.
Where's your god now, Nintendo?
Take that, you little plastic monster. But yeah. So that wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm the opposite. I love Zelda games, and I mean, yeah, but Twilight Princess. Looking back on it, I was like, I mean, it was just an experience. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was overrated for sure. I didn't hate it though, and I beat it all the way through. But yeah, there was never really that moment of, like, Ocarina of Time. I was playing the whole time, like, oh my god. And then when he time travels, I was like, oh my god. And then this was a good thing. This shows how awesome I was at school and how much I cared. In honors English, junior year we had to practice writing college essays or whatever, right? And so they put out a list of books we could choose from, like this is an in-class assignment or whatever. And it's like a quiz test. Passes it out. There's all these books on there that I've never read or heard of. And there were things in there though that were like big shifts in time. So you compare and contrast two time periods. Had seen none of them, so I wrote about Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and I was like, in the Hyrule Square used to be so cool, and then you came out and there were zombies everywhere, and it was yeah.
What'd you get on that?
And that's how
I did well. Like they accepted it, but he's like, you need to read more books.
Oh, the next one should be a science fiction.
Yeah, with
Just
guns.
throwing it out there.
Yeah.
No, not guns. Just like a quasi fantasy sci-fi.
Well,
where
they need
like
to just
Link comes out and it's like
Cyberpunk Link?
and it's like the Navi is kind of like cybernetic, like partially cybernetic, and like Link comes out and he's like, and the sword like extends outwards and lightning bolts swirl around. That would be badass.
What they need to
Love
do
it.
is continue the story. Like,
Or just- instead of
Majora's
just
Mask.
retell it at the
Majora's
same
Mask
time?
was something different. And now, ever since then, it's been Wind Waker. Oh, you're this kid, you wake up,
See, I
and now
love
you gotta
Wind
learn
Waker.
to fight. I love Wind Waker too.
Wind Waker was
I'm
great.
just saying, I'm sick of seeing the same story every time. Wind Waker and then Twilight Princess. I mean, you wake up, you're a kid, you gotta find a fairy, get a sword, get a shield. It's like, come on.
I guess that's probably why I
cyber
liked Link to the
fairy.
Past so much, was that it was a fairly decent departure from the first two games. It was like, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2D Zeldas are, by the way, freaking amazing.
Science fiction. You
Yeah,
heard it
Link
here
to the
first.
Past is definitely one of my favorite games of
Go
all time.
sci-fi, Nintendo. Do it.
Let's get on with this. WSON02 says, what is the hardest part of a review and what is the easiest? It depends on game to game.
Yeah. Absolutely. There is no universal answer for that one.
The hardest part is playing an RPG on a deadline because that stinks.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. Yeah, playing a super long game when you have no time to review it is a pain because you're up late, super late at night. You have all this other work you have to do that kind of gets pushed to the side. So that part sucks.
And the whole idea behind games anyway is that you're supposed to enjoy them. If you're stuck just doing a marathon session and rushing through stuff, then you're not really going to enjoy it the same way as someone who buys a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the hardest part of a review of a very good game is, especially if it's sort of a vague type game to talk about, is actually writing the review.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, writing the Shadow of the Colossus review is very difficult to do because describing anything in that game is a spoiler. So it's like I somehow wrote 3 pages and I don't think I spoiled anything, and trying to describe anything is kind of crazy. The easiest for me of reviewing any game is a game that is terrible and writing about it, because all right, if a game is great, right? If you're going to score a game a 9 or so, it's an amazing game. then you have to describe every single reason why this game is great. You have to defend it left and right.
Yep.
If a game is absolutely atrocious, you don't need to tell every single bad thing, because by the time you get halfway through, you're like, there's no reason you're going to buy this game. So I can list this and this and this, and if I forget to mention this part, it doesn't matter, because you already know the game sucks.
In fact, that's usually what happens. The more I start detailing why a game is horrible, the easier it is for me to go, you know what, just don't buy this game.
Yeah.
Just stop reading this, don't buy the game, ignore it.
Yeah, so those games where every single thing is wrong with it and there's nothing good, there's a piece of cake to write about. You're just basically ranting into Word and then read it and you're like, okay, cool.
Ranting into
another really hard one though is a very super generic game.
Yeah.
If something's very generic, you can't. Well, it has guns.
Yeah, exactly.
And level design takes you from here to here, and there's enemies and they shoot at you.
like Madagascar too.
Yeah, the more mediocre a game is, the more middle of the road it is, the harder it is. Because if it's good or bad, the words pour out of me whenever I'm praising or bagging on something.
railing
But
on
if there's
something.
nothing really to talk about, that's agonizing.
Yeah.
I don't like scoring. I've never liked it. Like, it's one of those things where I'm very verbal. I'd rather just write the review and let it speak for itself. So you get to the end now, and you're like, well, was it good or was it impressive? Or was it mediocre or was it I mean, like,
Well,
it's
I'm
one
trying
of
to
those
find
things.
out, like, the whole arbitrary 8.7 versus 8.8
Yeah,
or something like that. It's such a...
That can be tough.
Yeah, well, you're just applying a number to something that, you spent 1,000+ words talking about. And that should... I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, I like the closing comments part better than the actual score itself.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I think I think if people just want to get a real glimpse, read those, 6-7 sentences and then you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, Solid Snake RKO says, "What is our most anticipated game for next year?"
Infamous. Let's do it, Sony. Woo!
See, for me, it's I don't. There's not release dates on my most anticipated games.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would be. Like, is God of War next year?
Exactly.
Is Team Ico's
GT5.
games next year? Is GT5 next year?
Yeah.
Those three,
Final
and
Fantasy
then
13.
yeah, I mean Half-Life 3 is not going to be next year, but Episode 3 will be, but not Part 3 proper. So I mean, for me, it's if any of them come out, it's God of War, Team Ico, or Gran Turismo. But I don't know if any of them will.
Do we even? I don't think we have anything for Final Fantasy 13 yet, do we? It
No,
might not
there's
even be
nothing.
next year. It'll probably be the year after. So
Yeah.
not that. But
2010.
so I am excited about Killzone 2, though.
Yes.
Very good.
Personally.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Just the bigger stuff that really doesn't have a date on it yet. 2009's too, I don't know, confined space to go with. So
Although I think the
Ryan's
two,
making a lot of hand
A lot
motions for
of
everybody here.
circles with his fingers.
the two Kingdom Hearts spin-off titles. Birth by Sleep and 350.
something or another.
The Fraction game. No, and then there's Re, but that's kind of different. But the two portable games, I believe, are coming out next year. I don't think they would take longer than that, and so I'm excited about those because I love Kingdom Hearts.
Very good.
Love it. Don't forget about Patapon 2.
Oh yeah, and that.
Oh yeah.
And Loco Roco too.
There you go.
That game's awesome.
Forgotten Hell writes
Man.
in and he says, "My question is."
I didn't say it was.
Sorry. Yo, blind rage.
Jerk.
Oh man. Forgotten Hell wants to know which arcade street racing game did you like better, Burnout Paradise or Midnight Club LA, and why? Well, for me, I mean, I wrote both reviews, so you can see that even when it was released, I like Paradise better, and now certainly because of the downloadable content. I think
Flying cars?
Yeah,
Just
fun
talking
story.
about that last
Me and Sam went to a Sony birthday party last night, and their party favor birthday gift to us was a $20 PlayStation card. And Sam was nice enough to give me a ride home, which she didn't have to do. And on the way there, I was like, I know what I'm buying. I'm downloading Burnout because if they're gonna put flying DeLoreans in this car,
Hell
I'm so
yes.
buying it.
yes, the license plate I think says 88 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've
that's
got
awesome.
that has been my dream for a long time. If I ever can get a DeLorean, I'm gonna get a DeLorean and have the license plate say 88 mph.
Real quick too.
So now they stole it.
This is a fun little topic because I'm so excited for this update. As you know, in the blog post, they showed the picture of the DeLorean and then listed the rest of the cars. I had someone PSN message me who's a Beyond listener. Sorry, I didn't write this down. Beyond listener, and he hypothesized
remember it last night
on
for
what
Wednesday.
all the cars. Did I?
Yeah, you remember their name.
No, nice. I remember. Anyways, he listed the names and went through what he thought the cars were going to be, and I thought very interesting because I didn't bother to look this into it because the other one was the 88 special or something like that, the 80 miles per
Jensen
hour.
88 Special.
Thank you very much. So the other cars were Manhattan Spirit. He predicts Ecto 1. There was a country something, and he predicts
Dukes of Hazzard.
General
Yeah,
Lee.
General Lee.
Then there was another one that had something in there that sounded like Knight Rider, and he predicted Knight Rider.
Nighthawk, I think.
There you go.
Right?
Nighthawk.
Kid,
Yeah.
that'd be
The
awesome.
only other vehicle they have to put in there if they do this is complete, is the 18 van.
Yeah.
They have to have the
And it's
18
so
van
close.
come
They
in.
have the model pretty much already there.
Oh, yeah.
There's the Carson Inferno or whatever, which is basically that with some extra little
You
stuff.
just
thrown
need
there.
the spoiler on the top and the little
exactly.
red
Little
line that
strip.
goes up.
Yep.
Man, God, it'd be awesome.
Those are really
Driving
those are really
and the
good
theme,
guesses.
if you
I
could
know,
like,
yeah.
get a version of the theme, doesn't have to be the real one, just like something to kind of like be like, yeah, this is definitely the 18 van, like, dee-da-doo-doo, dee-da-doo-doo. And you're like, yes, 18. All right, cool. Let's see. Black Mantle says, having heard that Alone in the Dark Inferno contains improvements over the controversially disappointing, I don't know if it was controversial, it was just disappointing, Alone in the Dark game that was released on every major platform except for the PS3 last spring. Can you guys contribute your thoughts toward this? Is the game any better than it was before? Ryan, you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen the Inferno version, and the developers were definitely very cool about talking about how they read all the reviews, they took in the criticism, and they actively tried to seek out and change things and make it better. So I really appreciate that, and I think that takes a big man or woman to say, okay, you guys are right. We will go back to the drawing board with the thing we worked on for years and do it again. So there are some definite control scheme changes that I think could improve the experience, and I will be doing that review next week. So
There you go.
you can stay tuned.
Do we even have it in the office yet?
No, and they're not really sending us a copy until the last minute. So
Good sign.
Very good.
Yes, there's time. Lone Fox 777 says console MMORPGs. What are your thoughts on the development of this genre on consoles and at PS3 specifically? Do you think these games can survive?
We should have
and be
recorded our car ride home.
profitable on the platform?
There's another topic of
You were,
conversation
like
between
answering
Sam
my
and I.
questions before they beamed them right to our brains or something.
I think it's a genre that needs to be fleshed out. Like the idea of that sounds really intriguing to me in a MMORPG, and I don't have a computer, so I don't want to. I don't want to play that. So, I mean, definitely the DC Comics one is right up my alley, even though it's really early and, like, you look at it and it doesn't look awesome. But, again, super early the thing we're playing was pre-alpha or whatever. So, there's a lot of room there. So, I mean, I definitely want to see what happens.
I'm doing the spinning
You
things
are
with my
doing a lot
fingers
of-
again.
We're going to have to get
Did you
Jack
have
to make
Raisin
you...
Bran today?
This is me Raisin Man Crunch. That's even more intense.
That's where the fingers came from.
I think it's also this is my way of getting your guys' attention because I'm about to speak without butting in.
I see.
But
distracted
I
me
think
with
I'm very I'm very interested to see how. Yes, Rover. I'm very interested to see how White Knight Chronicles does because that was recently announced over at TGS that the multiplayer component is an MMORPG, is in the White Knight Chronicles universe, which I think is really interesting, and I'm eager to see if that spurs other developers on, because White Knight Chronicles is going to be really successful because it's level 5. And so if that does really well and console gamers start playing an MMO, then maybe other developers will be like, hey, they made it popular. Let's really try and funnel money into that. And then you might see an emergence of that genre on consoles.
The interesting part about that sort of formula, though, is the same sort of thing that Hellgate London did, which is you release a game that has the single-player part, and then if you want to play the multiplayer, that part's MMO, and so you don't maybe feel as necessary to pay for the
Compelled.
online to pay for the online stuff because you're like, well, I've already played this part, I don't really want to pay for it. Whereas if you release a game and all you do is pay for the online stuff, then you're like, well, here's how I get the experience and I'm getting the full thing here, I'm not sure if that formula
We
works
won't
100%.
have to pay for White Knight Chronicles multiplayer, I don't believe.
Okay. Well,
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. It didn't seem like they were saying that there was going to be a charge related. So.
I'm talking about in the context of can you release an MMO that would give you money every month or whatever. I don't know if that sort of thing would work.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I think not that the company needs any more money because they're already billionaires every month pretty much. But if Blizzard released World of Warcraft on 360, PS3, whatever, I think that would just be, they might sell another couple copies. I think everybody already has the game, so
Even I have the game. I don't
Counting
even
on
play
PC,
it.
I have it.
Final Fantasy 11, did pretty well, right? I think as far as it wasn't. It was
On PC, it did. I mean, it did a fair job. I know people who play it.
I've heard of people.
I've heard of these people.
I think it would be definitely important for the developers to design it specifically for a console, not necessarily port something over from the PC.
That's why
Make
White
sure
Knight
the interface
Chronicles.
is really what's up.
That's why White Knight Chronicles might be good.
See, I think what might be kind of cool is right now, if you play an MMO online, generally speaking, what happens is you go and you fight something, and you just click on it and you tell your dude, hey, hit him with your sword. Hey, now I want to use magic, and you do this. And the game sort of plays part of that for you. You're basically giving it strategy. I think what would be kind of cool if you had an MMO designed for a console is console gamers want to be able to do everything.
Yeah.
They don't want to you have like the RPG stuff where you do that sort of thing. But if you created an action MMO where you have problems with lag, But if you take the idea of instancing, except for only individual battles. So if you walk up and you're fighting something, everybody else that's looking at it sees your random thing, the same sort of pre-canned animations, but your battle is taking place solely on your system, right? And you have full control, everything. There's no lag or whatever. And then when you beat it, then it sends back the message to the system that says you actually killed this thing or whatever. Yeah, that way you don't have the problem with lag. You have perfect control over your thing there. If you start having multiple people fighting, then you have you would need a max. You can't have like 100 dudes attacking some demon like you can online. But if you said, hey, you can have 4 people attacking something at once. Obviously they could do that sort of thing.
That's what's going to be interesting about that DC Comics one. Is that's an action one. You're picking heat vision, and everyone else is doing the same thing around you. You're all hit. I mean, it's action game. You're down there fighting and stuff. It'll be interesting to see how that.
They're going to have combos.
Yeah.
Like it's actually going to be far more action oriented.
Yeah. Freeze a dude, throw him up in the air, throw him
in that MMO for White Knight Chronicles, you actually build your own combos and then execute them. So you can make one where you'll like knock the guy into the air and then jump up and like slash him and knock him down again. So that would be cool. And also you can take your character you made and bring them into the single player, and they'll actually interact with the main people in the single player, which is interesting.
But you actually, before we move on, you brought up a really good thing last night where.
I bet he did.
I think it was just in our general conversation, where it would be kind of cool if right now all the MMOs, the way they're set up is just to have it. You find someone, you get the quest, you go do it. And it's usually some sort of fetch thing. You, point A to point B, kill this monster, come back. If you had more free reign to do stuff in the world, and the things that you did actually created the quests or made you infamous in some way and marked you as a target, that would be awesome. Because then it would be the things that you actually did would influence the entire world and other players in it. So I think that would be kind of cool to build.
Yeah, that gets into the sort of thing, though, where you have 10,000 people on a server and how much
they all burn down every building.
Yeah.
They've blown up
it's
the town.
a wasteland. Well, we have to reset the world again. They destroyed it.
Who was it? Guild Wars, which did a bunch of different stuff, including like you pay for it once, that's it. Which is awesome.
Guild
really,
Wars
really cool
is free.
idea.
My friend loves that game.
And everything in Guild Wars is instance. Yeah. So everything, all the battles, all the little dungeons and stuff like that. So you can still play with friends, but you have to link up with them, which is, I think, a really good idea.
Right.
And,
moving on, Ted Parkins says, how long before release do you get a game for your review, and is it difficult to beat a game like Oblivion/Fallout before you have to review it? Speaking to the last part first, Eric Brudvig on the 360 side, he basically was at home for an entire week playing Fallout.
Yeah, that's all I did.
So he was able to put like 70 hours into the game before he reviewed it. But
it's probably enough.
Yeah, and I know like when
could have put in another 30 maybe.
Yeah,
that you totally could. That game is ridiculous.
I know when Jeremy reviewed Dragon Quest VIII way back when, he took a few days off to just sit at home and play it, things like that. So for those bigger games, unless you've got it way out and early in advance, people usually take off a couple days and just sit at home and play it and kind of get make sure the phone calls don't interrupt you and stuff. As for timing for how long before review we get a game, it really depends on what it is. Totally. Usually publishers give about the same amount of leeway for all their titles. EA is usually pretty good about giving it to us a week, maybe even 2 or so.
Remember this last time that we just Madden went gold 2 months before it's supposed to come out.
Yeah.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
That's actually the most ideal situation because you do run into that where publishers will sort of push back the release date to fit it in a slot where there's not as much competition or stuff like that, and it's done. So they'll send you the final copy of stuff, and it's
Square
awesome.
Enix is also good too.
Sony's been doing that recently with a lot of their stuff. Like we got Killzone came in, that doesn't come out until February, although that's preview.
It's
preview.
A Little Big Planet, I think that came in like a month before the game actually came out, if I remember right.
It wasn't that long, but it was a good
couple
bit.
Weeks, right?
Yeah, but like I was saying,
Motorstorm was the same way.
Motorstorm we got a couple weeks early. EA is really good about giving us stuff early. Activision is not. A lot of Activision stuff we get.
Yeah,
like
I get retail stuff from them after it's already hit stores.
A lot of Activision stuff we get like right when it's coming out. Like with the Guitar Hero review, if you were a diehard Guitar Hero fan, you're trying to look for our reviews, you'll notice that my 360 review went up first thing in the morning on Sunday morning, and then the PS3 one went up hours later. Is because we got the 360 game the week beforehand, which was surprising because I think with Aerosmith we got it the Friday before. But then I had to actually go to the store to buy the PS3 one. So I was able to post the 360 one. I had to drive to the store myself, buy the PS3 copy, go through all of the band stuff, have all that kind of business, and then finally be able to push it through.
This is what we do for you, readers.
Yeah. So I mean, so it depends on what it is, and also if a game is terrible, this is usually the smaller titles. If it's a big game, they'll almost always send it to us. But if it's a smaller game and it's terrible,
Just buy it ourselves.
a lot of times we have to go buy it ourselves.
Yep.
A lot of the smaller games we have to go get. But yeah. And just to be clear, in case anybody doesn't realize this, even if we have a game a week or two out in advance, almost 95% of the games we get for review have a date set that we're not allowed to post on. So like if we get a game a month early, we can't post it when we beat it. We have to wait until they say we can post it, and a lot of times that's when the game's coming out.
Unless
for
the game
whatever
comes
reason.
out, and then we are free to post it anytime.
Yeah.
Because it's out.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the SingStar question from Burst1. He says,
Burst1.
SingStar Volume 2 or 3 worth the buy? I really love the first one, but like the original, I barely know any of the songs on the newer track lists. Opinions?
Volume 3 we can't speak to yet. We haven't even seen it. Volume 2 is already out. In that review, like I said, I know Sam agrees with me.
Yep.
It's a huge step. It's a huge step backwards for them. They're losing all the momentum they had when they first came out. Like you remember, it's one of those things where that game came. I played the PS2 ones. Rarely in the office does anyone bat an eyelash at them. They're cute little SingStar games, not my thing. When we got the original PS3 one in the office, people wanted to come by and see the interface, see how the online worked. They were all very impressed with it. And then Volume 2 came, and everybody who walked by my desk go, wait, they put this on a disc? I thought the whole point of this game was not to have discs anymore. It's like, no, they're still going to do volumes, and they're not going to update the store that regularly, and they're only going to put up European stuff. And
That's exactly it. They would have made a killing if they had just started selling bundles. Do 10 songs for $10 or something like that, and theme it, and throw it up on the.
They're putting out the ABBA discs in a couple weeks. Really, folks? Really?
PS2's fine. PS2 can't download
Yeah,
stuff. That's
okay.
fine. It doesn't have the
Gimme.
same store.
High quality pop song.
It's one of those things where I like Mamma Mia and Dancing Queen, and I would gladly.
And Gimme.
I would gladly. I don't even know what that song is.
That
So there
song's
you go.
awesome. It's the best song.
Well, sorry. Anyways, I would gladly download those off the store as one or two, and if they were in a pack of 3 or 5, maybe I'd think about it. You know what I mean? But a disc, no, I would not go out and buy an ABBA disc for the 3 songs I want. You can't rip any. I mean, Rock Band, at least you could rip the stuff off and put it onto your hard. I mean, we have this giant hard drive with all this cool stuff, and I'm still swapping discs, and I'm still building a library, and that is not what I want, and that isn't what SingStar people in general want right now.
Yep.
And I've said in the review, I'm fine with you putting out discs as long as you add functionality.
Yes, if there was more content, more modes, something.
If there's
anything.
if it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I buy this
Rock Band
disc,
did.
and then
Added
I can
more
do,
stuff.
I
you're
buy
fine.
this and I can play online with people. I buy this, I can do video comments. I can have more than 100 comments. Awesome, I'll do that. Please let me rip my old songs off the thing, but
Well, that's
not
a
the
perfect
case.
example, right? We were talking about this yesterday. Rock Band is if you need a really good litmus test for how great downloadable libraries and online stores are. Rock Band's a perfect example. They've done millions and millions and millions, dozens of millions.
26 million sales.
There you go.
26 million songs.
Yeah.
People do it. That's what they want.
Clearly
That's
it
where
works.
we're all
Clearly
headed.
it works. So yeah, but I mean, the SingStar right now anyway is kind of there's so much Euro stuff over there.
Yes,
it's
I don't
clear
know
that
what their deal is.
SCEA just doesn't really rolling on getting a lot of licenses and stuff.
I mean, the problem is, Volume 3 is already set to do it. So, I mean, are they working on Volume 4? Are they listening? I mean, how long do you have to wait to see that actually happen? To see them realize, wait a second, maybe this isn't the best thing. I mean, even just release Volume 3 and then also put Volume 3's tracks on the thing. On the store and put them in packs or whatever. I mean, I understand that not everyone bought SingStar Volume 1. Now, I've seen it at my friend's house. Oh, look, there's a new one coming out. I'll just buy that one. That makes sense. Just don't force me to be the only way.
And Sony has to appease, retail stores and stuff too. They need that shelf space. They want to make sure that there's, a PS3 game out there sitting on the shelves. But
they just forget us then, the people who don't want to do this, who already have all this stuff.
Yeah.
Lame!
Now
moving
even I
on.
am negative. No.
DJ Pookie 2000 says, have any of you pre-ordered a game from 7-Eleven? He lives in Dallas and they're almost on every street corner. He sees the signs at every store to pre-order games. When he asks the clerk at the counter, he or she has no idea what he's talking about. Not surprising. Is it worth it to bother with pre-orders at 7-Eleven?
I've never even heard of that.
No, yeah.
Really?
So
They've been breaking embargo days.
exactly.
They don't understand what
2
street
weeks
date
ago, I went
means.
to go get a Slurpee or some beer or something, and the
Slurpee beer.
beer Slurpee. And the clerk there, the counter guy, he tossed a copy of Gears of War 2 on the counter, and this was Monday, and it came, it was coming out Friday.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at it for a little bit, and he's like, and I didn't end up getting it, which I should have because that was really stupid. It would have been fun, but yeah, they
don't understand what that means.
Screw pre-orders. Just walk in there.
Yeah.
Walk in there a week early, and chances are they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, here you go." They have the boxes or something in the back. So
Yeah, that's the one thing is if I don't know how well these people are trained. If you go to a GameStop, they have the boxes. They say do not sell to this date. The GameStop people know that's it's mandated from their managers. All they do is sell video games. They know to hold until the release date. If you go to a 7-Eleven, these people are trained to sell Slurpees and 3-month-old hot dogs. So if Rock Band 3 comes in there a week early, you can just walk in and say, "Hey, I want that." They already released it. You can just lie to them. Maybe get them to sell it to you.
Podcast Beyond does not condone lying.
I have one by my house, and I've been thinking about going in there lately because, the rule of thumb here is if a game's embargoed, we can't write about it. However, if we find it on the shelves, we can buy it. We can do it.
If we buy it, we can write.
Yeah. So if I go in there, they have Killzone 2 ready.
Yeah, there you go. But here's my advice: is if there's some game that you're worried about not being available on launch day because it's going to sell out, don't pre-order it from 7-Eleven. Go to something that you know is going to get it.
Go to GameStop maybe. Put $5 down. You can always get the money back if you don't want to pick up the game.
Yeah, go to GameStop, go to Best Buy, go to something that's going to get it on day one, and then, whatever.
I wouldn't trust them. I mean, I can understand that if 7-Eleven's right down the block, I got to ask my mom for a ride to GameStop, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. A 7-Eleven is 3 blocks away from my house.
Yeah.
If it does turn into like an actual game, a valid game outlet, I'm totally going to go down.
I don't trust them yet, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
when I can start trading in my old Slurpees.
There's Slurpee juice on this Gears of War 2 copy.
Yeah. Our last question of the day comes from Ethan B. He says, this is mainly aimed towards Ryan, but anyone can answer. He's a big strategy RPG fan, and he's indecisive between 2 games. Valkyria Chronicles or Disgaea Hour of Darkness, since he has a first-gen 80 gig system, which I guess first-gen 80 gig or whatever.
60 gig?
No, he has one of the first 80s.
Oh, I see. Okay, he was talking about me.
Yeah, he can still play PS2 games. Yeah. Which do you think you should get, Valkyria or Disgaea?
Well, I would go with Valkyria just because it's newer, it's exciting. I like the story, the presentation's better.
HD.
It's an HD. That gameplay is phenomenal. I mean, Disgaea is an awesome game for what it's doing, but
yeah, and you figure you could probably get Disgaea pretty cheap these days.
Yeah,
whereas Valkyria is the full $60.
Pick up both of them.
Yeah, so
I think it's greatest hits.
If you're rolling in the dough,
$20 or something like that. So.
Or and since that's gonna be so cheap, if you can work your way through Valkyria pretty fast, not that I condone. But you could play through Valkyria and then trade it in and get Disgaea and not spend any money. You won't have Valkyria in your library anymore, which is a shame. But
also, he should keep this in mind. Disgaea, the original one, was released on the PSP in the form of Afternoon of Darkness, which has extra modes and a ton of extra stuff, and the full Japanese language track as well, and all that. That's also a good option as well, because, yeah.
It's an awesome port, too.
Yeah, you should definitely go with that if you haven't done the game yet. And Rober's about to do something. What's he doing? Whoa.
that means the end of mail call. Let's wrap up the show. We're getting pretty long here. PSN hit of the week. Who's it going to be? We need a hit.
Did we hit you last time, right?
Yeah.
How'd that work?
Roper, you've never been hit.
That was amazing.
Yes.
I hit the 100 person cap. I tried to add everyone. Sorry, guys, if anyone's tried to add me and they can't now. It filled up within about a day, I think. Maybe a little bit more than a day. So
the power of Beyond.
Yep. And it was just beyond everywhere. So that was entertaining. But I don't play, or at least with the stuff I'm reviewing right now, I'm not really online competitively enough. So I don't know if anybody was going to try and hunt me down. But try later, guys.
How about Spunky Duck Hunter?
Ooh.
Is that a real name?
No, I just came up with it.
I don't think this is gonna work, but let's try it.
All right.
So Spunky, or let's do Duck Hunter and Spunky Duck Hunter.
Yep.
There we go. There's PSN Hit of the Week.
PSN Hit of the Week confirmed.
There you go. Bless you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Let's see. Anything else to add on here? Special segment liar. Is there anything for that one?
I got no.
Actually, no. You know what it was? Is you are the liar.
Greg Miller, you are a liar.
I was hoping I
you tried to call me out.
I was hoping
totally
we coast past that.
So, Ryan, you explain this one for anybody that didn't hear last week's show.
So originally, Greg Miller did say on the podcast, no less, that he did want to keep it as the special segment "Liar" and not just turn it into a once in a while
as a weekly segment.
As a weekly segment,
Yeah.
even though it would become a part of the show. I pointed this out to him on the last show because I was still calling it special segment "Liar" as per his
Yeah,
request.
that's what it should be called.
Yes.
I agree with that.
And Greg was like, "I never said that, never," and then
See,
hit me in the nose.
I still
And
don't think
so-
I ever said it needs to be a weekly segment.
Well, anyway, a reader wrote in and said, I was just listening to last week's podcast. Greg did, in fact, say that. I didn't confirm it, but I should.
I was gonna say, yeah. Has anyone confirmed
wait a
this?
minute.
I will confirm.
I seem to have remembered that you did, that you said it. So we'll count
It
that
was
as
at least
confirmed.
said afterwards. But anyway, and so now Greg Miller is the liar.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see about that.
you're a liar
I'm
of the week.
filing under protest. This needs to be further examined. There are hanging chads all over this.
Is Beast back from his
Beast is
whatever
back.
he's doing? He is?
Yeah.
Let's hear
Beast
it.
is back from his vacation.
From the Poconos in the mountains, not the Bahamas.
The Poconos are in Pennsylvania. We got
Thank you, everyone, who, even though Jeff corrected me on air as not knowing where the Poconos really were, you felt the need to write in and tell us the Poconos aren't in the Bahamas. It's like you heard that and then turned off the podcast and wrote your letter.
But the PS3 Community Challenge winner of the week was Big Boss X Hunter
Big Boss
with
X
a death match in Resistance 2. Congratulations, Big Boss X Hunter.
Big Boss X.
And thank you, Beast. The Beast is back.
That pretty much brings us to the end of the show. Anybody have any programming notes?
We should do an editor beatdown with Resistance 2 soon.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
I can't tomorrow. I got to already play.
here we go.
I already got to play Need for Speed Online tomorrow
Man.
for the review for
Boy,
next
won't
week.
that be fun.
You need to read my Mortal Kombat vs. DC review as well, because that goes live Saturday at 9:01 Pacific Standard Time, Sunday 12:01 Eastern Standard Time.
There we go. Let's get on to the song then. Who's got it?
We're gonna
Freestyle?
freestyle one. Ryan was gonna give me a beat, but I think we already have the beat. But I'm pretty sure Ryan doesn't know the beat. Do you know the A-Team song?
No, I
All
don't
right,
really
Rope,
know.
you gotta give it to me.
I don't know the. Oh wait, you want me to do the?
You're gonna give
Just
us
the
yeah.
percussion?
Okay.
Well, it's not. There's no lyrics to the A-Team song. You're just gonna do it, and I'm just gonna sing over it.
Okay.
All right.
Do you know it too?
Yeah.
Or maybe you should do it that way. Roper can do the walkout.
No. I'll do it, and then
Okay.
and then you can pick it up, and
Exactly.
I'll do it.
I'll come in.
I don't know the voiceover. You know the voiceover. You can do it
Oh God. Let me see if I can remember this.
in the year, whatever.
Yeah.
It is.
In 1979, a crack commando unit was sent to the. What was it? Oh God. Was.
Whatever.
Podcast Beyond. It's really good. You'll never see it coming. Talk about some stuff. Everyone laughs. Jeff isn't here. He smells bad. He peed his pants on a flight to Europe. Jeff peed his pants. Jeff Hayes has no bladder control. Bet you didn't know that Jeff Hayes pees his pants. He pees his pants. Jeff Hayes pees his pants. Are you aware of this? Out on the stars page, Jeff Hayes has a urinary problem. At least he can pee his pants. He's married, but they can't sleep in the same bed because he pees it all the time. He's in France right now, peeing his pants. He is in the loo, peeing his pants. The A-Team.
See you guys next week.
There's a
Next
trend.
week on episode 69, dudes.
There's a trend in your songs. Someone always pees somewhere.
Generally,
Hey
Jeff.
Ryan,